When it comes to naming powerful criminal organizations in history, the name of Pablo Escobar and his Medellin Drug Cartel is frequently put down. However, there were actually a lot more of these groups running operations on a global scale and raking in a ridiculous amount of cash. In today's video, we'll be looking at the richest criminal organizations in history. They might even have Escobar looking like a saint. Or not. Yamaguchi-gumi is one of the most notorious gangs on the planet. You may have heard the word Yakuza thrown around a couple of times. Well, you'll be shocked to know that it's the Yamaguchi-gumi that people are referring to most of the time. Yakuza is a Japanese term equivalent to the word Mafia in the United States. Through various crimes, prostitution rings, gambling casinos, and arcade sites, the Yamaguchi-gumi has acquired an estimated net worth of around $23 billion. This figure goes up with every passing day. The Yamaguchi-gumi is considered one of the most productive Japanese gangs globally. It makes an annual revenue of around $6.6 billion each year. Yakuza is not the name of one gang, but consists of multiple clans and families. They are legendary for the various crimes they've committed, as well as their signature back tattoos symbolizing demons known as onus, or dragons. They're also pretty famous for chopping off fingers of disappointing soldiers that work for the family. While others in the criminal underworld choose to live in the shadows, this family doesn't shy away or fear being publicly known. They actively work with many government officials and have many connections and links in higher-up parts of the government. The Yamaguchi-gumi is estimated to have around 80,000 members around Japan. The number keeps soaring as the lucrative criminal lifestyle and business of these Yakuza keep gaining traction. At the same time, the Yamaguchi-gumi is well known for its smuggling techniques and drug rings. Still, they've done their fair share of good for the public. They played a vital role in the rehabilitation of the people of Japan by aiding tsunami victims. They don't view themselves as hardened criminals that wreak havoc, but as vigilantes, heroes, and protectors of those who can't get a hold of justice from the Japanese judicial system. In recent years, the government has tried its best to reduce the influence of the Italian Mafia, but to no avail, since the Italian Mafia is still pretty active and lively. Despite the attempts to minimize the impact of the Mafia by many citizens, journalists, and government officials, the power of the Mafia keeps growing day by day. It continues to have ties with the Italian government, which aided them in many of their crimes. A study conducted by the Università Cattolica and the Joint Research on Transnational Crime concluded that the Italian Mafia generates an annual revenue of around $33 billion, which is quite staggering. Most of the money flows into the four main mafias operating within Italy, whose influence extends through Italy as well as the world. According to many of these studies, the Camorra is one of the most successful of these Italian mafias, which has raked in around $3.3 billion each year through many illegal activities. Their source of income is mainly derived from illicit programs such as sexual exploitation, weapons trafficking, the smuggling of narcotics, and the production of counterfeit money. But that's just the tip of the iceberg, as they also indulge in blackmail, gambling, and many other forms of extortion. The Camorra has been at it with these antics, wreaking havoc throughout the community for a long time now. Their activities date back to as early as the 19th century. It was initially established as a prison gang. When the gang members were set free, it started to thrive due to the corrupt political activities performed by many of the officials of Italy. The Camorra provided security services by forcing individuals to pay a protection fee. The Mafia also held political campaigns as well. Russian mafias lie on the opposite spectrum when it comes to their crime strategies and systematic crime compared to the Yakuza. Federico Verisi, professor of criminology at the University of Oxford and a specialist on criminology, stated that instead of being centralized, these gangs are much more fragmented and feature 10 separate quasi-autonomous brigades that function much more independently compared to many other units found across the globe. However, the organization aims to pool its resources, and a 12% council manages them. They conduct meetings at various locations throughout the world. They do their best to hide their meetings as joyous events instead of gatherings of organized crime. The gang produces annual revenue of around $8.8 billion every year. The numbers keep going up with time. Just from these statistics, you can make a decent guess as to how powerful the gang is. Once they are adamant about committing a crime or doing something, no one in their right mind can do anything to obstruct or stop them. They are estimated to have a gang size of around 9,000 members and counting. They primarily make their profits and revenues from the illegal drug trade and through sex trafficking. Being a Russian criminal organization, it's estimated that most of its drugs, including heroin, are sourced from Afghanistan. Russia is known to consume at least 12% of the world's heroin sources. When you look over the population of Russia, it's around a staggering 5% of the world's people alone. The 'Ndrangheta is based in the Italian province of Calabria and is known to be found as the second biggest crime syndicate located in Italy. Although the 'Ndrangheta is involved in the same crimes as the Camorra, it has managed to distinguish itself from Camorra by forming multiple alliances with many crime syndicates worldwide to strengthen itself more and more. 'Ndrangheta has performed partnerships with many South American drug traffickers, and thus has managed to gain control of most of the transatlantic drug market known to supply most of Europe with illegal drugs. It has continued to influence and form ties with many other crime syndicates located in the United States as well. Additionally, the organization has helped stabilize the Gambino and the Bonanno families. In February, government officials managed to arrest scores of members from the 'Ndrangheta and Gambino families. They were arrested for many of the transatlantic drug smuggling around the world. As for the money, 'Ndrangheta has an estimated revenue of around $4.5 billion from their crimes. The Sinaloa cartel is one of the most powerful drug cartels at the time of this video. They have continued to terrorize much of the Mexican population and act as middlemen for the South American drug trade and an insatiable American drug market. According to studies, the American market spends around $100 billion annually on illegal narcotics. About $6.6 billion of it goes to the Sinaloa Drug Cartel. The Sinaloa Drug Cartel may be the best choice for those trying to figure out the worst crime and drug syndicates in Mexico. According to foreign policy, Sinaloa has managed to form trade channels with California and Arizona. The arrest of the Sinaloa Drug Cartel's kingpin has not led to the bloody succession that has afflicted many other criminal organizations and continues to operate to this day. Their kingpin is really something, since it's rumored that upon arrest, he dug a tunnel right under his prison cell, which led to his freedom. El Chapo came from basically nothing, and within a few years became one of the biggest drug cartel kingpins that has ever set foot on Earth. And that's pretty much it for today's video. Which of these criminal organizations scared you the most? Make sure to like, subscribe, and turn notifications on for future videos featuring many other crime lords and syndicates. With that said, we bid you farewell.